Alright, I'm going to attempt to make a goblet out of this log. So let's see how it goes. I'm using a carbide scraper to get it turned to round, to something I can work with. Running my Bauer lathe from Harbor Freight. Really love that machine. Its price compared to other lathes is really, really good. Using the skew just to kind of smooth it out a little bit. And now I'm cutting a tenon so it'll fit in my jawed chuck. I like to give it that little bit of angle so it'll fit that kind of dovetail shape of your typical lathe chuck. And a little tiny lip so that it'll fit securely. I'm using the round carbide scraper to start defining the stem of the goblet. And the good old Forstner bit on the drill chuck. Fortunately, I didn't get the goblet as deep as I'd like, but, you know. You'll see at the end its novelty will outweigh its flaws. As you can tell, it took me quite a while to get this figured out on how to hollow it out. Not great on the lathe, I'm sure you can tell. Marking out in reference to where the bottom is on the hollowed out portion. I was off a little bit, but it still came out. Here I'm just defining where the bottom is going to be, so I have reference. Here I'm using a scraper chisel from like that super cheap Harbor Freight set. They don't even sell it anymore. I like those sets because you can modify them into any kind of grind you want. On this one I put a bevel on the side for going inside hollows. We'll see here in a sec. Yep, right here. Never discount cheap tools, because sometimes you can, that leaves room for modification. If you screw up, you didn't lose that much. And one of my favorite tools, my Bosch 12-volt die grinder. I think I've used it in every single video. And not sponsored, by the way, but if this tool burnt out, I'd immediately buy another one just like it. Super handy. The excess dust there. Wasn't happy with the inner wall, so had to break out the little cordless Dremel and the right angle attachment. It worked great. And here's my little cheap carbide detail chisel. It's good for, well, lines. I like to knock the edges down, sharp edges. This is like courtesy to the customer, so they're not, cutting themselves on my products. Couldn't quite get rid of that crack all the way, so good old Starbond super glue to the rescue. And sand it down once again. I'm holding the vacuum up because it's great at getting rid of the fine dust particles. I used to be so scared doing this on the lathe. Now, every time. Parting off like that. Now here I'm back at the carving desk, and I'm using a French curve template. These are really cheap. You can get them anywhere, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, whatever. They're really great for curvy designs. I'm using it to map out basically like a vine with leaves. And there's going to be the leaf design. I don't know what kind of plant it would be, but anyone who looks at it will be able to tell, yes, it's a plant. Yes, it's a leaf. There you go. Sometimes you you just got to make sure they get the impression of what it is you're trying to convey in your artwork. I use the French curve, just kind of work my way around the goblet. Put a little stem where it feels like a leaf should be and go from there. I got out the good old Dremel 4000 with flex shaft. And here I'm using a Kutzall fine dovetail burr to basically define the lines. Gives it a little bit of a, bit of a taper away from it, which is pretty rough, but we'll address that later. I just like to get it defined so I have something to work with. Wood that the goblet's made out of is some type of elm. I don't know what. It was from a dead tree from basically my backyard, so. But it was definitely dry enough, so why not put it to use instead of letting it rot, you know? Here I've got the Kutzall fine detail flame burr. And basically I'm kind of smoothing out the edges of like the stem and the leaves and bringing down that harsh taper from the dovetail bit. Here I'm using a disc sander. Some little hook and loop sanding discs. Basically bring it down a little further, you know, kind of cleaning up the mess. Can't get in super detailed with it, but we'll do the major areas. And this little detail finger sander to kind of get in a little bit closer. And abrasive buffing wheel. This is to get rid of the pencil marks. I know you'd say just erase them, but that doesn't get rid of them. Here I'm using a diamond T-bit. Basically defining the leaves. It's not high art, it's just lines, but a person looks at it, they'll know, hey, that's a leaf. And this is an 80 grit nylon brush. I like using this for kind of when the details are almost a little too sharp. This takes them down. It also kind of sands out further, gets in those little crevices I couldn't get to with the other sanding devices. Here I have my pyrography pen with a little round tip. Basically I'm just stippling the entire area. There you go. Really makes the vine with leaves stand out and adds a neat decorative texture to an otherwise, you know, boring object. Here I'm using a 600 grit abrasive buffing wheel to kind of, you know, smooth it out. And of course my favorite, the Watco butcher block oil. I figure if there's even a remote chance of food ending up in one of my products, I just use this finish. It works great. It's pretty much kind of a no-brainer type finish. At the end I ended up putting on 3 coats. It's usually what I go for my, you know, craft sale items. I had to go a little thick to get it in the nooks and crannies of the carving. And when I apply it like that, I like to take some paper towels and kind of work it in. The butcher block oil is tongue oil based, and that works best when you kind of rub it in. Elm really is a underrated wood. It's got some beautiful grain patterns to it. There we go.